Hello everyone, I'm Vijeta P. Hosmani. I have secured the All India Rank 100 in the UPSC Civil Services Exam 2023. Today I want to share what was my strategy for mains answer writing. My main fundamental strategy for the mains was that I have to firstly understand the mains exam itself and understand for each paper what is the trend in which questions are being asked. And for this, my basic source was the previous year questions. Firstly, to give a basic idea of how I used to do this, I would take up previous year questions of past at least 3-4 years and then analyze subject wise within each paper. For example, in GS1, understand what are the questions asked from history, modern history or ancient history, and then art and culture and geography and society, and understand what are the areas within these subjects on which questions are being asked. So by doing this, I understood that there is a trend in which some themes are being repeated. The questions may be different, but the basic themes can be somewhat similar every year. So from this, I gathered the basic themes and I also understood the marks that are allotted to different subjects within one paper. So the same for GS 2, 3 and 4 also. So after analyzing the marks breakdown between different subjects within a paper and understanding the different themes within each subject which are important, I set out to study those themes which are more important with regard to how many marks questions are being asked every year. So my study strategy and my notes making strategy was also focused on this. So for example, if we take GS1, so understanding that the Indian national movement is a significant part on which questions can be asked, and in society probably themes like say women or themes on regionalism, communalism, questions from these are generally asked every year or every other year. So these were the topics on which I focused more, and my notes included the key words and key concepts of these to a larger extent, and probably some other topics on which questions are not regularly asked. For example, say questions from post-independence India or from world history. I used to study them but not spend a lot of time on them because I thought that I could use my time better on the topics from which questions are regularly asked. So this was one thing. Secondly, after making the analysis and ensuring that I have my short notes ready for these topics, another thing that I did was look at toppers' answer copies. So the topper answer copies of various mock tests that they would have given would be freely available on the internet. So I would take them and then firstly understand what is their answering style. How do they answer? So, starting from what are the points that they used to include in their content, and also analyzing what is their presentation style, and not just one topper but several of them, so that I can come across some paper which is somewhat similar to my answering style and my way of presenting my answer. So that would be the kind of paper that I would focus on, because that would be something that is close to how I naturally write. So once I come across something like that, I would try to understand what is the content that they have used in a particular answer, and I would see what I would write if I were given that question. So then I would compare my answer to their answers and then understand what is the difference in terms of what are the kind of examples that they have used, what are the keywords that they have used, how have they started their answer and how have they concluded, what are the diagrams or flowcharts that they have included. Because at this point, once you have already cleared prelims, your knowledge base is sufficiently good enough, and during mains, in the 2 months or 3 months gap between prelims and mains, your main focus should be on improving your answering style. So for this, understanding the trend and then looking at topper answer copies and finding someone similar to yours, and understanding where you can improve, that is going to be a very good strategy for anyone giving the exam. Secondly, after doing this, I would also go and try to answer the previous year questions by myself and then spend significant time doing self-evaluation. So after writing an answer and writing it in a time-bound manner, say for example for a 10 marker, giving only 7 minutes to answer a 10 marker question, and then for a 15 marker question giving about 10 to 11 minutes, I would after writing an answer, I would spend some time to look at my own answer and understand, firstly, am I writing everything that I had remembered or read about it? Secondly, am I writing well enough within a time bound manner? And also thirdly, is there something that I'm forgetting? So based on all these three questions, then my post analysis strategy would be whether I should focus more on revision Or should I focus more on writing more so that I improve my speed? Or thirdly, should I focus more on how I deliver my answer and how I present my answer? So I would not sit to write a full mock test at the very early stages. I would just take it answer by answer. So I would write one answer and evaluate, and then another answer, and so on. So after doing this exercise for some days, I would move on to writing a couple of answers in a batch, say 5 answers or 10 answers at a go within a specific time, and then performing the same analysis on that. So this is a basic strategy of how I improved my answering style. Secondly, when we talk of every individual paper in the actual exam, my strategy was a little different for every paper. So for example, for this essay, which is very important because you generally see a lot of marks variation in essay, and so there's a good scope that you can score really well on your essay if you write well. So here my strategy was, again, I ensured that I have done a proper analysis of the previous year essay questions and understand what are the kind of essays that you are being expected to answer. So once you do this, this material for an essay is not something that you read from a book. It is just your accumulated knowledge and your accumulated extra reading that you have done, probably some books or even some quotes or some poems. So my focus area here was that I have to have some interesting anecdotes with which I have to begin my essay. So there was a notebook in which I used to just jot down some anecdotes, and not too much again here, because too much of anything will just make it more messier rather than keeping it simple. So I used to ensure that I have some anecdotes, like 4-5, and 4-5 but versatile, such that I can use them in different scenarios and in different themes. And then I would have several quotes, for example about 15 to 20 quotes that were very important and that I can use in different essays and in different themes. Other than this, I would also have some short poems that I can use maybe in the conclusion of an essay. So a couple of poems that were close to my heart and with which I could connect. So these were the kind of poems that I had jotted down. And fourthly, even for the essay, I used to look at some model answers or model essays of previous year essay topics, and also the essays of toppers' answer copies. So both these were again one source for me to understand how an ideal answer should be, or how have the toppers written an essay, what is their style and what is the content that they have used, what are the examples they have used. So based on all this, but ensuring that I retain my natural way of writing an essay, I developed a strategy for essay, and I was prepared after writing say 4-5 essays. But again, this will vary from a person to person, because what works for me may not for you. I understood that for me, what is more important is that I have those short collection of various things I require in an essay. So I did not need to practice writing essays for multiple times. But for another person, it may have been the other way around, that the more they write, the more ideas that they may find themselves with. So this is something that you will have to work on yourself. After writing about 4-5 essays, you would have a fair idea as to how you fare in an essay and what further you need to prepare for that. Now coming to the GS1. So for every subject in GS1, again, firstly, having understood the weightage of different subject and the areas from where questions are coming. So my strategy again was to ensure that my jargon for the GS1 paper is ready. So what I mean for jargon is that in every paper in general studies, there is something expected of you, so that when someone reads your essay, they understand that you probably know key concepts of this paper or the subject. So for history, probably what you would need is that you would have to have a fair idea of the chronology, and you would have to mention the significant events that shaped history. And whereas for geography, you would have to have a fair idea of various key concepts in geography, or have short diagrams through which you can explain your answer better. And even for society, there's a specific jargon. There are key terms that you need to use, which one, it saves time because you don't need to explain the same thing in 2-3 sentences. You can just substitute a keyword for that. And secondly, it also makes your answer seem a little better in quality because you are using subject specific keywords or jargon. So how do you collect this jargon is, one, by your own standard books that you're referring. So maybe it is the NCRTs or maybe some other material that you're referring, and also the model answers to previous year questions, and also the topper answer copies. From all of these, if you're noticing something similar that every person is using, that becomes the keyword that you can understand that for this subject, probably this is what works. So that you have to identify, and those become your jargon or the keywords, and that you have to use, and that is different for every subject. So especially for history, the key events and dates, and for geography and art and culture, maybe the diagrams are important. For society, the keywords and key terms and newer concepts and newer examples are more important. So this was my general studies 1 preparation strategy, and in the exam also, focusing on writing proper conclusions and using those keywords was the strategy while writing the exam. So for GS2, in GS2, I have a history in law, so I have graduated in law. So for me, the subjects of polity and governance, that came easy to me. So I spent more time on other areas like international relations. So here I mean, this is something that you have to have your own strategy as to what subject is important or strong for you, and what subject you need to focus more on. So for me, that was international relations, and here I understood that again here some examples of depicting international relations in different arenas is important. And again, the same analysis of model answers of PYQs and the topper copies gave me an idea as to what are the important things while I'm preparing for international relations. And secondly, how am I going to answer it? So even in international relations, I noticed that whenever I'm able to draw a map and then I'll give my answer and explain the relation between two countries or India and another bloc or the global south, etc., my answers are better. So this is a strategy that I adopted, that as far as possible I'm going to draw a word map and then give my answer. And with regard to polity and governance, my idea was that I have to highlight various articles of the constitution as far as possible, and various landmark judgments of constitution, and for governance part, various schemes and mentioning their key ingredients. This was my main focus area for governance and polity. Now coming to GS3, GS3 being a little technical in nature because of the subjects like economy or environment and science and tech, my main focus here was that I should be very clear on the concepts. So having clear understanding of the concepts and knowing again the technical jargon that is used in, say, science and technology or economy was very important. So I had a notebook where I would mention some key data facts, especially for economy, and just 1 or 2 pages in which I'm mentioning very important data that I'm going to use in different answers in economy was important. And secondly, even for subjects like internal security, again here I noticed that if I'm drawing a map, my answers are better. So practicing drawing maps quickly and understanding again in internal security also the specific jargon of different sorts of internal security threats and latest examples of those. All these things I had noted down in a short notebook. Again, the whole GS3 paper I could have summarized in just 3 or 4 pages probably. So this was the strategy for preparing for GS3. And when writing answers for GS3, again the idea was that I don't take the whole GS3 as one paper itself, but I would rather think of it as questions from economy or questions from environment, questions from internal security, and then answer them accordingly. So I took it subject by subject rather than a whole paper at a time, and then within that subject ensuring that I'm writing down the key concepts, key terms, the jargon and relevant data. Coming to ethics GS4, here my strategy was that in ethics, I need to have definitions of key terms. So in ethics, given again here that ethics can be a very highly scoring subject, if you have a good grasp as to the basic concepts in ethics, then the way you answer becomes better. And again, in ethics especially, using very significant terms and ethical values is very important. So I had just one page where I had written different terminologies of ethics, and that I could use in different answers. So along with the key words in ethics, I had made my own definition of various concepts. So be it morals or values or emotional intelligence, along with a standard definition, I had my own simple definition that I can remember very quickly in case I forget the standard definition. So this helped save time when writing the answer. And even these definitions, they do not take a lot of time or space to write and make your own preparation of it. I had made these in just 4 or 5 pages, very selective concepts of which I have to make a definition. So along with keywords and definitions, the third important thing in ethics is having examples. So for examples, again, my main source was the topper answer copies and the model answers to PYQs. But along with that, I used to follow a couple of pages like the Better Indian or other officers' news on the internet, and take up very latest examples of different civil servants who are doing great job and whose stories are inspirational, and use those examples. Again, not too many, because if you put up too many, then you would not remember a lot of it. So just 1 or 2 pages in which I could summarize very important examples that I can use across different answers. So this was my strategy for ethics. Now coming to the optional subject, my optional was law, and given that I'm a law graduate, so I had a fair understanding of different subjects in law. So for paper 1, subjects like constitutional law, administrative law, and international law. So these being core subjects that I had studied thoroughly during my graduation. So again, my main focus here was making very concise notes. So especially in the optional like law, you would find that a lot of questions are from repetitive themes. So once you know what are the important themes, what is necessary is that you have short notes which highlight landmark cases within each subject. So this was the main preparation style for optional. And secondly, in the optional paper 2, which had different law subjects like law of crimes, contracts, torts, and contemporary legal developments. So again, here some of them being traditional law concepts and some are contemporary and new areas in law. My preparation was more or less the same, that I have to have concise notes having delineated different articles or sections of various acts which are necessary, and also having very short list of case laws that I'm going to use in different subjects. And also some illustrations become important in optional paper 2, especially for subjects like law of crimes, where you may not remember a lot of case laws because there are several landmark judgments and more or less the facts would be too lengthy for you to write during the exam. So the illustrations that are given in the bare act itself, for example, in the Indian Penal Code and in the Contract Act, there are different illustrations after every section. Those were something that I used to read often, and even during the exam, I made it a point that whenever I was writing an answer on some section, if possible, I would mention an illustration that I could remember from it. So this was the strategy for optional. But overall, for mains answer writing, given that this is a test not just of your knowledge, but also how well you present and how quickly you present, my main strategy was twofold. One is that I should not stop writing at any point in the 3 hours. So this was one core funda that I followed in all the papers, that once I start writing, I'm not going to stop till I finish my paper. So what this means is that I do not take breaks in between to think of an answer. When I'm writing first answer, I'm going to think of probably the second answer also when I'm midway with the first one. So I don't take break to think of an answer. So in the first 2 minutes that I get a paper, I give a quick read to all the questions and I understood what is being asked. So once you do that, subconsciously your brain is going to try to bring and retrieve all the relevant information. So thinking becomes quicker and you can do it subconsciously while you're writing one answer. So this was number one. And secondly, what worked for me is that given that when you're writing answers quickly, during the last 20 minutes, your handwriting may not be very good. So my strategy was that I would write question number 1 to 5 first, and then question number 11 to 20, and then question number 6 to 10. So this worked for me because I used to segregate my time accordingly. So the first 5 questions generally are 10 marker questions in which you have to write 2 pages. So for this, the time that I had allotted was say about 5 to 6 or maximum 7 minutes. But overall, I used to try to ensure that I do question number 1 to 5 within first half an hour. And then I would spend about 1 hour, 30 minutes or 45 minutes for the next 15 marker questions in which you have to write 3 pages. So after finishing question number 11 to 20, I would again come back to the last 5 questions of the 10 markers, which is question number 6 to 10. Here I would be left with say about 40 minutes and I would try to write them quickly because there is a general perception that when you're writing a question, when a person is checking your paper, generally the kind of impression that they get from reading your initial answers carries ahead. So I used to try to ensure that at least the first 5 questions I'm writing very beautifully and my presentation is good. And also the first 5 questions of the 15 markers used to be very good. And in the end, if I have a time crunch and if my handwriting is not good, or if I'm not able to draw diagrams beautifully, that would still be okay because those questions would come in the middle. So this way, this was the strategy that worked for me. But for some others, they may have a different strategy. They may go subject wise, say questions of polity first or questions of international relations first. So this is something that you will develop once you have written sufficient answers and you know what works for you. So along with this, another thing which was my fundamental idea was that I should not leave any question. Whether or not I have complete information of it, I am going to attempt the question. So even during this means, there were a couple of questions in which I barely knew anything apart from, very basic idea of what that concept is. But even here I ensured that I am trying to write an answer which is good enough. So maybe I don't know the concept exactly, but I know ancillary things which are relevant to it, and at least I'm going to convey that to the examiner. So even here I did not waste time thinking of the exact answer, but I instead chose to spend that time trying to write some relevant information about that answer, and spend without wasting too much time on this. I would rather use that time on some other answer which I knew very well. So this is something that you have to do during the exam. And how you do during the exam is when you have been through this earlier, and that is where attempting questions in a full paper manner at your own home or maybe in some center becomes very important, because once you have had a simulation of what sort of questions may come and what do you do when you don't know an answer, don't know a question, only through experience you will come up with a strategy for this. So because I had done this by myself at my home, so I knew that this is going to be my strategy. Even when I don't know a question completely, I'm going to write an answer for it within the allotted time. That is, if it's a 10 marker, then within 6 or 7 minutes, I'm going to write an answer, and I'm not going to waste another 2-3 minutes trying to think of something more relevant. So this was my basic strategy in GS 1 to 3, and in even GS 4, my idea was that I'm going to, in the first half an hour, I'm going to write 5 or 6 questions of the initial 10 marker questions, and then I'm going to do all the case studies and then come back to the remaining 10 marker questions. So the idea for me was that the first half an hour should be spent on questions which require shorter answers, and that because I'm just beginning to write answers, I should ensure that I write very fastly but beautifully in the first half an hour, and by that time my mind is more active and subconsciously my brain has thought of relevant information for the remaining paper, and so I move on to the bigger questions, that is 15 markers in case of GS 1 to 3, and in case of ethics the case studies. And after finishing that, I come back to again the shorter questions which I can write in lesser amount of time. So this way I ensure that there is no pressure on my brain towards the last half an hour, because in the last half an hour I would be left with just some questions which are short. So this is the answer writing strategy that I followed in general, and even for the optional, more or less the answering strategy was the same. The shorter answers at first, and then the longer answers, 15 or 20 markers in optional, and then coming back to the shorter answers again towards the last half an hour. So this was the basic mains answering strategy. But one thing that I want you all to focus on is, when you're preparing for mains answer writing, what is important is, firstly, you understand what is your style, because no matter how many toppers you follow, what ultimately happens during those 3 hours is your own natural instinct comes and you write answers in your own way. So you can't fight it during that time. So the better approach would be that you follow and develop your own answering style from the get-go. You just follow your natural way of writing. If you write in bullet points, then follow that. If you enumerate your answers, do that. If you write in paragraphs, that's okay too. But ensure that you are doing it better and better every day. And again here, rather than relying on someone else to evaluate, be it a mentor or a coaching institute, I would suggest that you follow your own self-analysis at first. After writing a paper or a mock test, sit with yourself for 2 hours and analyze every answer with a lot of depth and detail. Understand, did you follow your answering strategy and style? Did you miss out on some content that you remember? Or did you not read it at all? In which case, if it's important, you may probably go and read it. Or was it the case that, at that moment you could not push yourself to write well, because this is another thing that can happen when you're writing a 3-hour long paper, that fatigue will set in. So how are you prepared for that? So on the actual mains exam, you have to write 3-hour papers, 2 papers in a row, with just 2 hours of gap in between. So how are you going to maintain that stamina, that even on the last day of the exam, your last answer is going to be of good quality? So for this, a lot of simulation by yourself beforehand is very important, and also having this mindset that you have to give your best and you have to take every answer in a fresh way. If one answer you did not do well, then you don't carry that to the next answer. And if you did not do GS1 well, then you don't carry that to GS2. And similarly with regard to your optional, because optional is again very important. It can be the deciding factor in your rank. So probably if your GS papers did not go as well as you thought, or probably some other extraneous factor occurred in the gap between GS and optional, then you don't go back, or you don't give up there. You have to fight till the very last answer and the very last minute of your mains answering time, and you have to ensure that you deliver well and you prepare well, and there is a chance to, even till the moment that you submit your paper. So with that strategy and with that mindset that you're going to answer every question to the best of your abilities, and you take every minute in a positive spirit and with this attitude that you're going to do your best, that is what will take you ahead in mains. And this you have to practice beforehand. So spend some time doing a simulation, at least 1 or 2 simulations of the entire GS and optional papers 1 or 2 times, and then go to the mains exam center. So with this, I hope that you do very well in your mains, and all the best.